Could AOC be the next president of the United States? Could Stephen A. Smith be the next president? Those are the two names I've been hearing floating out there. That would be a reaction to what we just experienced as a country. A huge reaction. My name is Brandon Fogel. This is Evolution. Let's dive into it. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into it. I don't know if you caught the Douglas Murray and Dave Smith debate that happened last week on the Joe Rogan podcast. Usually when you check into Joe Rogan these days, it's not a debate happening. It's more just a conversation. But Douglas Murray, he started it. He right out of the gates when the podcast kicked off, he was just, it felt like he was just ready to roll and ready to just argue something that I don't think, when we actually take a look at it, was very defensible. Douglas Murray, he comes from a UK position, British position. That's what I got from him. He had that vibe. He has a nice accent, you know. People from Britain, they got a good accent. But his idea was certainly from across the pond. It did not align with what I think is the American thought process in freedom of speech, freedom of thought. And he came at it like, unless you are an expert in something, you should completely shut up and don't talk about it at all. Dave Smith, on the other hand, I've seen him on a lot of shows. I've seen him on Tim Pool's show plenty of times, and he was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, but he was brought back on here for this. I don't know if Joe expected this to break out, but it was certainly crazy. And you should check out the video. I put a link in the description about everything that happened in it. It was really wild, beginning to end. It was fire. But I'm going to give you a short clip of what Douglas Murray says, and you can, if you don't know either one of these people, you might be able to pick up right away who they are just by their accent and how they each of them talk. But Dave Smith, he defended the American freedom of speech thing. That was what I really drew from it. Was Douglas Murray is like, unless you go and touch the land of Israel, unless you go to Israel and you step foot in Gaza, the crossing points, you should not be speaking about anything. And Dave Smith challenges them on this, and you're going to see. I don't want to just spill the beans or just make it seem like, give more of an impression and let you just maybe hear it from yourself and see what you come to the conclusion. Which side are you on? Can they not speak about something unless they actually go to that region?
I've been plenty of
times.
There
was no deficit?
No, there are plenty.
No goods were kept out.
There are plenty. How many? Have you been to the crossing points?
No.
When were you last there at all?
I've never been.
You've never been?
Well, am I not allowed to talk about it now? I've never been to. Have you ever been to Nazi Germany? Are you allowed to have feelings about them?
You can't time travel, but you can.
Right.
But you can travel.
Okay, but so what? So what's the point? Like,
no,
okay.
I find that
lots of people have been there and agree with me, and lots of people have been there and agree with you.
Yeah, but
so
if
I don't
you're
going to
spend a year and a half talking about a place, you should at least do the courtesy of visiting it.
All right. I just think this is a non-argument.
You don't think?
Okay. No, I think it's a non-argument.
But if you're an expert,
well, you have to go and touch the ground.
No, I think you have to see. I think it's a good idea to see stuff, particularly if you spend a career talking about something. Yes, I have a journalistic rule of trying never to talk about a country, even in passing, unless I've at least been there.
Oh. Okay, so I don't know what you took away from that, but in this case, this was, like I said, right when it started. Douglas Murray, who's on the screen right there, he came out just guns blazing and just right away challenging Joe by the people that he is platforming on his podcast and saying that he's not giving the other side of whatever the side that he is on a voice. And if you are not a historian, you can't speak about history. If you have not been to Israel or any other place in the world, you can't even talk about that place. And I don't want to straw man what he's saying, because there is I would say, a nugget and a gem of truth in what he is talking about. And when Douglas talks about, he boils it down. There's a point in the argument where he says, I go to Twitter and I see all these people that aren't experts on anything just coming into my feed and just giving their opinion and their voice when I don't need to see that. To me, he came across very elitist. That's the impression that I got. That, like, if you can't even talk about something unless you have a degree in whatever it is. And Dave Smith over and over is just like, I'm not an expert in this, but this is my opinion. And like any podcaster, anybody that's out there in the world, you can't be a professional or a expert at everything. You can't, not everybody can know everything about everything, but you can still get good knowledge, and you could still have regular just understanding of how to interpret whatever is going on in this world. This is my opinion. This is what I'm saying. And I think it is from that side of the pond over in Britain, where they are very close-minded, and unless you have a history degree and whatever it is you're talking about, I'm not even going to listen to you. Dave Smith, he repeatedly gave the argument that, man, am I not allowed to say what I think? Am I not allowed to just give my opinion on whatever it is? The whole, it's that, why maybe we separated from Britain, maybe that's why we got away from that neck of the woods, because we wanted to be our own people. We don't want to be just under the thumb of other people. We want to have freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and that's a huge deal. This kind of feeds into the whole, should everybody be getting on board with AOC or Stephen A. Smith coming into the argument of next president of the United States? And I know Stephen A. Smith, he's not just right out there and up front. He's kind of just, if I have to step in, I'll do it. But it's very countercultural to where we're at. And if we go in that direction, I mean, Stephen A. Smith, he would almost be a neutral person in the argument, in the whole debate structure of the president. But AOC, there's a lot of things about her that, I mean, could people actually get on board with her representing our country? And I think if people do not have a voice, if people do not have opinion to say what they think and just continue just to put it out there, then people are going to be closed-minded and not know all the facts. If we are only just fed one narrative by who are so-called experts, that's all we are gonna be one-sided. We got to be put on our big boy pants and our big girl pants and be able to look at both sides of whatever it is and discern. And I get what Douglas was saying repeatedly over in his argument, but it's kind of feeding into the direction. Could this kind of spark something that we go in a AOC wild run of presidential campaign? That would be absolutely crazy to me if we do go that direction. Stephen A. Smith would be more middle of the road, and I could see that actually happen. But AOC becoming a candidate, because I think she is going to step in there, and I do not see her actually becoming president next run. But I mark my words, I bet she will be president someday. Maybe not the next term, but maybe the one after that. She is just, she comes across as a valley girl, a person that just is just social media on steroids and able to just garner attention and garner views. She just put herself in Congress. I do not know how she got there besides her doing it herself, which, I mean, that's that go-getter attitude, which is good. But she does put out there a lot of just very extreme views. I do believe she will be president someday. And you think that might be insane to even think about, to even put, like, if you're wanting just to be milquetoast and you're wanting just to go along to get along, I think that ship has sailed. It is now who is gonna do the craziest thing. This is what social media and YouTube and everything has done to us. It has made us go crazy unless we're seeing the most crazy thing happening. And AOC she has garnered that ability to go out there and get the views, get people to look at her and say some crazy things. So could AOC be president? Anything's possible. I think she will be president eventually. Stephen A. Smith, he's going to float his name in there, but that seems more just a way to get some attention, a way to bring some light to the political, swinging back in the political direction that he is wanting us to go. So, but this whole debate between Douglas Murray and Dave Smith was absolutely insane. It was different than the normal show that Joe Rogan has on there because it was really back and forth. It got heated at times, and I saw each person's position clearly. I saw what Dave Smith was arguing, and he is all about you have freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and you're not going to take that away from me. You're not going to take that away from us. And Douglas Murray was just more, man, I don't want to hear anybody unless you have a master's degree in that subject. And then over and over it is like, well, then are you giving your opinion about something? And he's like, yeah, I do. I talk about a lot of things, but I try not to unless I know, I try to go to the people that are the experts. And that is a dangerous path to go on. And I think Americans should be aware of it's out there, but like, be able to see it for what it is, because man, that is just if people like that have power, that are willing to say you either tote the party line or you shut up, then that is a terrible direction, I think, for our country. But I mean, like I said, the pendulum will always swing back and forth, and right now it's on the right side, so it's gonna eventually go back to the left. And I think AOC has a very strong possibility of being president, maybe not in the next 4 years, but the one after that. I think she's going to be president someday. Just her ability to just get people to jump on her bandwagon and jump on her point of view. So, all right, we'll leave it at that.
I could see the cracks form in the paint, growing like a fire. What do I say?